incredible big honor for me to introduce to you Mrs. Manuelle Casamian. She is a person with such a bright smile that her smile, it will illuminate at least 1,000 homes. So much of high energy. She loves life. She loves to experience different cultures and foods and music and also travel. Now, during the course of her travels, she has collected a very rich tapestry and woven magic into it with anecdotes, stories, episodes, chronicled all her experiences in a blog. Manuel had come with her husband to and her children to India 4 years ago. She was born in France, and in France she was educated. She became a teacher. She got married, and now she has three young, handsome boys. During the pandemic, they had to return to their country, but her rewarding, exciting, delightful experiences, maybe some of them were unusual, she is going to share with us. And all this she puts in a blog. And she is also involved with one NGO in Pune. She has just come back, so she will take up that work again in a little while. So, Manuel, once again, I welcome you to our show. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Anjali. Thank you for your kind words. I hardly recognize myself. I'm very honored to be your guest and to share my love of India with you and all the guests.
Thank you, Manuel. And our viewers, myself, we are excited to know that the first time when your husband came and told you in France that, or which part of the world you were in, that now we have to go to India. And what was your reaction that time, Manuel?
When we heard we were going to India, my first reaction was surprise. We were living in London, and it was our first expatriation. And the whole family spent 2 wonderful years in London, and we had no idea what would be our next destination.
Yes.
And I must admit, I didn't know much about India. It sounded like a very mysterious country, very enigmatic and far away. And so my first reaction was a surprise. And after the shock passed, I was very excited and curious.
Yes.
I look forward to go in a country with a very rich past and lots of traditions and unknown gods and goddesses and one of the oldest civilizations. So I felt blessed to move to India. And people used to say that you will not change India, but India will change you. And I wonder how a country could transform me. I was curious about that. And I expected many family adventures, lots of surprises. And now I realize that I was far away from imagining what was going on.
Quite true. What to expect, like one has some idea, but it must be so different.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's so beautiful. And Manuel, it was like a new adventure for you. So after coming to India, what was it like? It must have been a new culture, new surroundings. What was it like for you?
When we first arrived in India, all was new, and it was a complete cultural shock. New sounds, our gaze was not familiar with our new environment. New sounds, new tastes, many colors, many people, new climate. We expected to come in a sunny and hot country, and we arrived in August, and it was the monsoon. And it was raining all the time, and we were very cold.
Exactly right.
And everything simple and basic thing were an adventure. You know, like even walking in the street was very complicated. You know, it's very common in France to walk in the street. You walk on the sideway and cars are on the roads and they keep their line and there is no U-turn and there is no horn, except if there is a big danger or if you are very bad educated. And suddenly I had to walk on the road among a crazy traffic and, you know, many cars, many rickshaws, many scooters, street dogs, even cows. And I was completely lost.
Yes.
And this was the easiest part because after a few meters, I have to cross the road and no pathway, very few traffic lights, and which were not really respected, and no pedestrian signal. You know, in France, in addition to the traffic light, you have the two men, the green one when you can cross and the red man when you have to wait. And I was desperately looking for this pedestrian signal. And when I was a child, I was taught, and I taught my children, that before crossing the road, you have to look both sides of the road.
Yes.
And you cross when there is no car, no vehicle. And this never happens here because there is always a car or a rickshaw coming. So it was very confusing. And I used to say that I love India, except crossing the road.
I know. It's still really difficult. You know, it takes some time to know the dynamics, how the traffic moves. So you become an expert at crossing them, you know. That
Yes.
is so,
And
yes, so
yes,
beautiful.
yes. And you know, one day I had to cross a very big junction, and I say, okay, I'll be brave. I pray, I go straight and I close my eyes. And suddenly a man stopped me and said, hey, wait, don't go now. And, and then I understood that what looked like a jungle for me, like with no rule, in fact, it had its own rules, but I didn't know them and I didn't suspect them. And this is probably what is the cultural shock. It is not only have your five senses overstimulated, but it is also that you have to see the world with a different perspective. You have to switch your paradigm and this is a very personal experience, because what is very scary for me or very enigmatic is not a problem for my husband or for some other foreign friends. So, you know, each person has its own challenge and its own comfort zone to go beyond.
Yes, that's true, Manuel.
And it is probably what is incredible in Pune. It's that you have something which will surprise you, and you are always alert.
That's right.
And another nice thing is that you have to rely on others to understand the world in where you live, because it's like another planet.
That's right.
And so, you know, when I'm lost or when I need help and when I ask help in the street, there is always someone who help me and who take care of me. And Indian people are very welcoming. They are very kind. And they always do their best to help you and to feel you comfortable. And I'm very touched and I'm very grateful for this generosity.
Oh, that's really so beautiful, Manuel. And you yourself have been so receptive and open to all cultures wherever you have traveled in the world. which I think is a very big quality, because then you experience life and all its beautiful blessings that it comes to us. So you have also been very adventurous, I think. And Manuel, you've got children who had to come from France and then they settled down in school in India. So did they have to make some, of course they managed very well, but did they have to make a few adjustments in the beginning when they came?
Yes, absolutely. When we arrived in Pune, my children were 14, 12, and 9 years old.
All right.
And they always have been in the French system, even when we were in London.
Yes.
And the French system, of course, the teaching is in French.
Right.
And it's a very traditional and very academic system.
Yes. Yes.
You know, the teachers, they face the students and they give the lesson. And
Yes.
after that, children, they have homework to do at home, like they have to learn the lessons by heart and then to do some exercise.
Right, right.
And this is the way it works in France. And when we arrived in Pune, there is no French school in Pune.
Yes.
So there is one in Mumbai, but there is none in Pune. So they went in an international school.
Yes, right.
And international school are private school, and they prepare to international baccalaureate. And they have the same model in all the countries. So, you know, it's the same assessments, the same grades, the same organization. And international school are completely different from the French system. And, you know, the children, they are encouraged to build their knowledge. So the teacher is here to supervise, and the children, the students, they do their own research, and then they do some presentation for other students. Right. And they build their knowledge this way. And so it's a completely different way of teaching and of learning from France. How it works, and then to accept it.
Wow.
So, but there was other challenge, like, you know, they were not fluent in English. So because French is their mother tongue, so that was another challenge. And then they have to build new friendship, to make friends.
Yes.
But because it is an international school, the environment is quite international. So there are many students coming and leaving. So that was easiest.
Easier. That's right. That's really nice. And they've done so well now. And then, Manuel, before the pandemic started, when you came, did you have any experience of our festivals, Indian festivals?
Yes, there are so many. There are so many festivals in India, and so many occasions to dance, to celebrate joy and pray and eat food, but of course we experiment some of them, and the one I remember the most is Ganesh Festival. When we arrived, at the beginning, we had no apartment to stay, so we were in a hotel.
Yes.
And we knew very few about the culture and about the festivals. Mm-hmm. And one day in the hotel, we discovered that it was so beautifully decorated, you know, with colorful flowers and candles and balloons and rangolis. And the people in the hotel, they wear some traditional clothes. Wow. And the woman, beautiful jewelry. And we didn't understood what was happening, but we understood that something was happening, but we didn't understood what was going on. And then someone explained to us that it was Ganesh Festival. And the staff of the hotel, they have prepared a home temple in the basement with a statue of Ganesh with flowers and offerings, and they invited us to pray and to celebrate Ganesh festival.
Oh,
And
nice.
it was such a wonderful feeling, you know, to feel like at home and to be part of the festival and to be invited in this festival. And after there was a fantastic meal with
Yes.
a fabulous buffet with many delicious dishes. And there were the dance and the drums and all this joy. And since then, Ganesh has a very special place in our hearts.
Oh, I'm so completely happy to hear that, because we pray and we celebrate in a different way. Sometimes we do it at home, sometimes we do it in a public space, which is like a society garden or something. So the whole community comes together. And also, we celebrate festivals of all communities in India. So, virtually every month there's a festival.